Today, I propose to share with you some thoughts on how to be successful. We start by defining what is success. Is the successful person the person who breasts the tape at the end of a track event? Or are there other successful persons who've also taken part in that race, given their best, exceeded their previous timings, or rather bettered their previous timings, and then found that they were not numero uno in the race? Are they successes or failures? So we must first define success. And the definition of success which appeals to me is being the best that you can be. You don't have to compete with other people. Yesterday, after the victory against New Zealand, Shreyas Iyer, who had scored the maximum runs for the Indian side, was asked, "So how do you prepare for this?" He said, "Look, my only battle is with myself. It is me versus me. I don't bother about what happens outside." And I think that is a fairly useful, a fairly helpful approach to going about your work and your life. Don't compare with others. You must have seen a few days ago a person called Duplantis, the world's pole vault record holder, broke his own record for God knows the nth time or how many times. The fact is, he was breaking his own record. He was motivated enough to go at it, knowing fully well that there was no one within striking distance of his record, and yet the urge to do as well as one can and not recognize that your previous achievement is your limitation is what sets successful people apart. So competition is important. It helps you do as well as you can do. But it's not the result that defines success. Success is when you get away from there with the feeling that you have done as well as you can possibly be expected to do, given your natural talents, given your limitations. So how does one become a success? There are no magic formulas for this. There are certainly some attributes that you will see in successful players. I have observed a number of successful persons throughout my life, been privileged to do that, been in close proximity with persons who have been successful, who have defined success, who personify to me what being successful is all about. And there are several steps that I've observed, and hopefully, somewhat immodestly may I say, some that I might have absorbed on the long journey of life. The first is, you must want to be successful. Suppose you sit back in your chair and say, "I want to be a success," and do nothing about it and wait for success to come by. Success is not going to come by. There are several other doors that success can knock on. There are people that will open those doors very quickly while you sit in your chair, and success will pass you by. So the first is to want to be a success. Not to do so is to have the perfect recipe for disaster. Remember, you are the joint arbiter along with the Almighty above of your destiny. Everything is not in your control. Some things are in your control, and those are the ones that you need to exploit. There is the story of a student who was told by his parent that if you do half the work, God will do the other half. And the smart student, or he thought he was smart, told the parent, 50% is a pass mark. So if God does this 50%, I will get by without my doing anything. No, I'm sorry, it doesn't work that way. God's 50% comes after you do your 50%. Therefore, it's important that you give it the best shot that you can, otherwise you will be an also-ran. Honesty is very important. If you are dishonest while seeking success, success will see through you and pass by you. You might get some short-term gains. There are people who occasionally get short term gains, and others look at them and say, this person did all the wrong things and yet he's successful. No, it won't last. It won't last for very long. These are transient occurrences in life. You should not expect that in the long journey that will continuously see you successful. No, you must be honest in your intentions, in your efforts, in everything that you do. As Shakespeare said rightly, and this above all, be true to thyself. That is important. If you are not true to yourself, you can't be true to the rest of the world. Humility is important. If you are consumed by ego, if you are consumed by this feeling that I am God's gift to humankind, that but for me, none of the persons around me will be able to accomplish anything, clearly you are barking up the wrong tree. That ego is a fire that will destroy you. Humility is important. Look at all the leaders that we've seen. Have you seen a number of instances where they have manifested humility? When they could very well have pretended that they were the reasons why things happened the way they did? No. When things got done, they walked away from there and they manifested humility. They showed that it was a team effort. It was not about I, me, myself. I, me, myself never gets anyone anywhere. Certainly doesn't make you a success. Pride is important. Pride is to be distinguished from ego. Legitimate pride in achieving what you have done, what you've set out to do, is something that you can live with, and it can coexist with humility. It would be idle to pretend that because you are humble, you cannot be proud of your success. No, far from that. Have pride in your success. That is very important. Otherwise, if you confuse that with ego, that will be a fatal flaw. The power of visualization, and this is critical. I think what sets winners apart is that they have seen themselves successful before they have become successful. It's like seeing the trailer of a movie. You imagine that you're already successful. You imagine that there are people who are approving what you have done, applauding what you have done, recognizing your success and making you feel that you have earned their praise legitimately. Imagine all of that. But if you sit back and just imagine, nothing will happen. Then work towards that. That imagination, that visualization is a trailer of a movie that will play out sooner rather than later. And I think it's important to recognize that if you do not visualize what success is and it comes to you, you will be unprepared. Remember, preparation is key to all of what you do. The motto that I have liked most and hopefully lived by is be prepared. If you are not prepared, clearly you are not going to get the kind of success that you can get. So imagine that scene when your efforts are crowned with success, and you will get there sooner rather than later. I'll give you an example, a personal example, because there's nothing that can illustrate better than personal examples. Sometime in the year 2001 or 2002, I was invited to attend the Economic Times Awards for Excellence. So I went there. I saw the award winners, shook hands with some of them, and applauded them as they went on stage and received their awards and made their thank you speeches. And I told myself, might be a good idea if I can get there sometime. It was not out of conviction. It was not that I believed I will certainly get there, but I visualized myself being there a few years down the line, and it happened. In the year 2007, I picked up an award at that same forum. Therefore, I think visualization is important, and those that don't visualize are denying themselves the pleasure of the trailer, which will then become the full movie as you go on in life. Most important, learn from others, look around. There are persons who can be role models, but they don't go around branding themselves as role models and say, "Come to me." You must seek them out, observe them, see what they do, see what they don't do, see what you can absorb, practice those habits, and then try and internalize those attributes which will then make you the success you want to be. Most important is learn from failure. Failure is one of the best teachers in life. I am not for a moment saying that you must plan to fail in order to succeed. Some people get it wrong. They think that if you don't fail because you haven't planned to fail, then you may not succeed. Sorry, it's not that way. There are lessons that failure teaches you, and those lessons are the ones you learn from. They go take you back to the game of cricket. What happens if you are beaten in flight or beaten by pace while you are batting? You don't think about that all the time. How did this happen? You tell yourself, this is where I got it wrong. The next time round, this is not going to happen. Therefore, that failure or that possible failure will then inform your activities and take you to success. Most important, celebrate success. Many people allow success to happen to them because of what they did, otherwise, it won't happen, and then take it as par for the course. Don't do that. Celebrate. Celebrate so that the sense of happiness that then gets into your system, that pervades the surroundings, that positively influences other persons, becomes then the next launching pad for your next level of success. Success is not a destination. Success is a journey. There are intermediate milestones where efforts will be crowned with success. You don't pause there. You can permit yourself the luxury of a deep breath, but keep at it until you are able to reach where your potential requires you to reach, because that will be your ultimate tribute to yourself and to your maker. Thank you very much.